Your family is very important to you. They bring you so much joy, laughter, fun, smiles, and love. If an unfortunate event occurred in your family, are you certain that they will be financially covered? Stress no more. Call and receive your free consultation today. And let's protect your family together.
How my journey began. It's graduation time. Family is very important to me, including my puppies. The Marine Corps played a huge role in my life and allowed me to be ambitious, inspiring, a mentor, and achieve all of my goals. As a financial expert, I've received multiple awards, done various events as a guest speaker all over the U.S. with my platform of creating healthy financial habits, along with having my own business, all leading up to my show. Come along for the journey.
Hello, Gems, and welcome. For the month of July, I will be highlighting different business owners in the health, fitness, and wellness industry. You are definitely going to want to be part of their journey and connect with them. Here are a few statistics on the yoga industry. The number of people practicing yoga in the US alone stood at over 55 million in the year 2020. There are over 350 million yoga practitioners in the world. Revenue from the yoga industry in the United States reached $11.96 billion in 2020 and is forecasted to reach $62.2 billion by the year 2027. On average, people who practice yoga in the United States spend around $90 per month for classes and or memberships. 44% of Americans who do yoga attend classes 2 to 3 times a week. 34% prefer to do yoga in the morning versus 18% who prefer doing yoga in the evening. The average yearly salary of yoga instructors in the US is right around $41,000, but can be dictated by other key factors and where you're located. Now for today's guest, she was born in Atlanta, Georgia. The sports and exercises she enjoyed growing up were cheerleading, track, and skating. Her favorite yoga pose is a child's pose. 3 words to describe her outlook on life are moderation, faith, and family. She currently resides in Douglas County, Georgia, which is located about west of Atlanta. Gems, let's welcome my cousin, Shay Bell, founder and owner of Fits by Shay, to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. You have so much to share. I absolutely love seeing your journey with yoga on Instagram. So absolutely. Enough about me. We're going to get to you. So let's go ahead and get started. How did your passion for yoga begin?
I'm just always being into fitness. I love having an active lifestyle, and that's where Fitstyle came from. So yoga, it was just a natural progression. I was realizing that I was kind of bored with lifting all the weights and doing all the running. You meet your goals, and then it's like, now what? And so I actually started with Instagram. Instagram was the new hot thing on the press, and you had all these wonderful people doing amazing yoga poses. I was really inspired. So that's where it started. I joined in on a yoga challenge on Instagram, and it just took off from there.
Then I know it's one thing about yoga, like you just mentioned with all the other sports, the consistency to keep learning different moves. So you may have gotten like one move down and then you go back to the same instructor and we're like, okay, really? Now I got to learn something else. So did you kind of go through that as well?
Absolutely. And that's the intriguing part for me, is that there's no end game. Yoga just continues to evolve. Your practice continues to grow and evolve. Some days you take it easy. Some days you're way up to the highest notch, just depending on how you're feeling internally. And so there's no mastering yoga. You can just continue to grow and continue to move.
I love that part of it. So you have a finance background in banking because your major isn't in fitness or in banking. So tell us how you got into that. How did that all come about?
Absolutely. Well, I started working in a commercial bank right out of high school, and that was a lot of my funding for all of my college expenses.
Yeah.
So I was a working college student, and I happened to just be very good at it. I was able to be very successful in a short span of time, learning finance, mortgages, lending, so it was exciting to me. I think you're always excited about things that come easy and bring money.
Yeah.
So as a college student, that was exactly what I was looking for. It was perfect. And I kind of moved around in that industry to different parts of finance and banking over many years.
I like it. What is your major in? Because girl, I want Gems. I want you to know she is smart. Okay, you hear me? She didn't just be like, I have a major in basket weaving because I'm a basket weaver. No, tell them what your major's in, Miss
My
GSU.
major, my major is actually biology, so I am a science geek. I do love animal science in particular. So originally, I planned to go and be a veterinarian of medicine. And then I realized that being a biology major means that you're a chemistry minor. And chemistry is not the most fun for me. So I didn't want to be in the lab all the time. It wasn't the most entertaining space. So I continued to just finish out my program, but my passions were leading me in a different direction.
I like it. I kind of said it with GSU, but Georgia State University is where
Yeah.
she graduated from. So I just want to let y'all know right here, biology, finance, and yoga. Y'all gonna get it all, okay? She can hit you with a little finance tip, which you know I love, and a love for vet for animals, which you know Jake and Charles are my heart, and then yoga. So let's continue with yoga. I love all of that. So when did you start getting serious about yoga, and what are the credentials to teach a class?
I was practicing, let's see, so I began with the practice of yoga just from at home with the Instagram challenges and self practicing. So that began in late about 2012. And so 2 years in, I was like, okay, I want to go to a studio or I want to experience a live practice. And most accessible was my gym. So I started taking these gym yoga classes, which can be very different than a studio setting, but it was a soft introduction for me. And I saw that our local gym had a need for instructors, and they were willing to do their own certification for you. So I actually auditioned and got the position to teach at my local gym. And so that was when I began teaching yoga, late 2013 and into 2014. And just all of the new movements within the body. Very quickly, I found out I was pregnant. So
Yeah.
then I had to kind of backtrack and really slow down the practice and be safe with the pregnancy. So it challenged me to move the practice not just to a physical part, but also to the mental and emotional aspect of it. So that is really where the beauty lies for me.
I like it. Tell us about the Yoga Alliance certificate, the hours and what's hours and all of those things that you had to go through.
So Yoga Alliance, they actually provide the certifications for yoga instructors. So they sponsor or they will approve certain studios to be able to lead a course. And those courses for the minimum certification is 200 hours. You have to engage yourself or at least commit to that 200 hours in order to be able to get the certification that's accepted pretty much across the board anywhere as a way for you to be able to teach yoga.
And then how much is the certification? Yeesh.
Different studios have different prices. On average, I usually see it anywhere from about 2,300 up to about 4,000. It can be very expensive.
Right.
Yes, it can be very expensive, and then you do have requirements to do continuing education. Each year, you have a certain amount of hours that you'll need to have continuing credits.
And then you said that just so that price, it just depends on the actual yoga studio? Or
It does. It depends a lot on the studio, also how long the course is. So 200 hours is the minimum, but some have 500-hour courses, 300. Most continuing educations are 100-hour courses. So just depending on what the course is that you're signing up for, also the style of yoga, different styles may be a little more in depth, if you will. So you might see that there's more textbook material. So those things will factor into the cost a good bit.
got you. And then my favorite, you have to carry liability insurance. So explain that to us, because I think of yoga and I'm like, what could go wrong? Like, what are they doing in this class? But help us understand why this is important.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, most fitness programs are always going to ask you to get that approval from your doctor before you begin. And unfortunately, a lot of people do not do that. So you don't really know what your body may do or how it may react to these new movements. So the liability insurance, it covers the customers, your patrons, it covers yourself as well. So it's important to carry it, and I think I found that importance more as a gym yoga instructor, because they're really big on making sure that liability piece is covered. And then moving into a private studio setting, it's more the studio can carry the coverage versus an individual instructor. But as a yoga instructor, you are your business. You literally can take your business anywhere with you. So it's just a good piece to have. You can roll out a mat anywhere and say, hey, you want to come practice with me? Just check this liability waiver.
You need to check this. Yes. I love it, girl. Sign them contracts. Everybody knows I love contracts. Before we have fun, I'm gonna need for you to sign this just in case you shouldn't be here. So, what type of yoga instructors are there? Because I like I said, this is a new world for me. So, what are the different ones?
Some of the most popular styles of yoga is generally vinyasa flow. Vinyasa flow is you're flowing in and out of postures, but you're moving to your breath. So it feels like a dance. There's an inhale and then an exhale, and each movement connects to the breath. And that's really one of the key pieces of yoga, moving to the breath. But you have your power yoga styles. You have what they call yin yoga. There's a restorative yoga, which allows you to really just rest in poses that restore the body. If you're sitting a lot during the day, there's things that you want to undo and unlock so that your body can really find rest. So restorative is a practice I think everybody needs to have. and they may not even know it. They might already be practicing some form of restorative yoga. So there's countless numbers of styles, and they continue to develop on new styles and renaming it, and people rebranding certain flows. So it's really cool. Like I said, it's endless. There's no mastering, it just continues to build. So
I like it. And tell us some of the key differences between commercial yoga instructing and a private gym or studio, because I know there's definitely some differences in those.
Absolutely. So in a gym setting, it's similar to all of your other fitness classes that you might take in a gym. So you're going to have a group of people that comes in, they're going to get their equipment, and you have a lot of rules that you have to, adhere to, because again, it's the gym liability. They want to make sure that they're not at fault for anything that should happen in their class settings. So they may tell you you can't have the lights off or have the lights dimmed, or maybe you're not allowed to practice certain postures that they feel may be unsafe or just not as secure as they would like it to be. So there's a lot of restrictions. You can't talk about religion. You can't, and yoga is a spiritual practice in that way. In the long run, I would hope that you connect on a spiritual or mental level, and it's not just the physical practice. the asana or the physical practice of it is just one small piece of the yoga 8 branches. So you know, that there's a lot more there. I think the gym wants to keep you just to the physical practice. As to where in a studio, you have more freedom to move that practice onto something that I think you can carry with you long term. We're not always going to be as young and limber and strong, or, you go through different changes in your body throughout, whether it's pregnancy or illness, you just don't know. So you want to be able to still modify your practice and continue to practice, even if it can't be at the physical level.
I like that. And you get to see that a lot, the differences between the gym and the studio, because you are sometimes with the gym, like you said, you're in there with all kinds of levels of yoga. I mean, I've been in there and I am just level beginner, and then a notch beneath that, and other people are in there, they're level, I don't know, not a beginner. So it's just, yeah, trying to curtail it to someone like me so that someone like you doesn't get bored, as opposed to maybe having different classes, like you said, that you're able to do in a studio as well. And another thing I just wanted to hit on that's really, really important to business owners is that in a typical gym setting, you tend to be captive because you do have to do what they do. And then as far as a studio, tell us, because you have a little bit more flexibility to kind of make your own practice your own, and not just be like you said, can't turn on the lights, can't do this poses. And you're like, am I just supposed to sit here all the time? So having that freedom to be non-captain is super, super important for the business owners. So I definitely wanted to hit on that. So where are you currently working, and how long have you been teaching there?
So I am at Just Breathe Yoga Center. It's local to Douglas County in Atlanta, off of the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia. So their studio has now entered into our second year. So, or I'm sorry, third year. Look, I forget about COVID year.
Right.
So we started 1 year before COVID, and as we were coming into the anniversary, everything just kind of went away. So I've been there since the beginning, and I love it. It's my yoga family. The owners, they're amazing and very accommodating. So we enjoy the experience, and I think our community really feels the love that the owners have for this practice. So Kimmy and Katie have done a great job of really creating that space for our community to come in and feel free and, judge-free zone.
Yes.
To just practice their yoga however they need. And just kind of to touch on where you were before with the captive, feeling captive in your space. If you feel that way in the structure, it's going to act out how you move on your mat. So it's important to just really try to get out of that mental space, and physically, it's nice to open that up.
Yeah, that feeling of being free, that non-captive type of feeling is very important. So tell us about like the hours you work and the pay, and how does that work? Because flexibility is so key to a business owners. And I always want them to know, I was just telling a friend the other day, every industry has a lucrative side to it. You can make it your own. You can still take vacations. You can still, eat lobster if you like a lobster. If you like steak, you can still have the finer things in life. I think sometimes we look at instructors and say, oh my gosh, she must be starving on oodles and noodles. Like, I know they are not. Thank you. They are doing quite maybe even better than you. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
So in the yoga business, again, I like to think of each yoga instructor as their own business.
Yes.
And the studios or the gyms that they work at, these are their clients, and they connect to their students through those clients. So on average, most instructors make anywhere from about $30 to $40 an hour. And that's typically one class. And then a lot of places, just really depending on their pay structure, they will scale it based on the number of attendees. So definitely you can teach 5 classes a day if you like, but that might be physically exerting for you, just depending on your style and how you teach. But definitely you can add on to your income by having sponsors for different fitness lines, or whether it's I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Whether it's going to be clothing or if it's going to be different props that you might use for your yoga business or other fitness endeavors that you like. You can add more to your income in that way, but you still always have that flexibility of your schedule. Even though, okay, yes, I teach 5 classes a day, but that's only 5 hours in your day. And most work days are 8 to 12 even.
Right, 8 or more.
So definitely it's nice to have that freedom and in your schedule. And then you can, have more casual classes if you'd like. Maybe it's a pop-up yoga class. So you never know when you can really have a great pop-up class. It's great. So definitely there is a lot of financial freedom there. You are determining your dollar, and how you market yourself, how you're marketing your brand as a yoga instructor is going to determine all of that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So how did the studio and your teaching style kind of shift during COVID-19?
So we had to go ahead and implement online classes, which I think is a great thing. I'm glad that COVID kind of forced us to see things from different perspectives. So we opened up online classes, and we have a setup for the studio where we're recording our classes for attendees who just aren't ready to return back to the live practice. Maybe they have a circumstance at home where they're not able to come to a class just one off, not necessarily, you're not committed to stay online. You're not committed to stay in the live practice. It's very flexible. So basically we offer the opportunity to view the class online if you're signed up for the online class. And if you're not attending at the time that the class is recorded, you have access to that recording. So, maybe your work day ends a little bit later than the class. And so you just want to take the class when you get off work, and that you have the freedom to do that. And I think that's incredible. I know I would have definitely used that as I was working in corporate America. It would have been helpful to me to say, oh, I don't have to rush through this Atlanta traffic
Right.
and try to make it to this class.
Right. Tell us a little bit about what the going rates are, because you mentioned the drop-in classes, and tell us about how that is. So if someone wants to just try it out a little bit, or if they want a class pass. I like the class pass, so I'll let her tell y'all about that.
Yeah. So definitely the drop-in rate is where you're going to spend the most for a single class. Our drop-in rates at Just Breathe are $17 for the class. But our most popular is the class pass, and we run specials on that pretty often, holiday, summer, whatever the need is, or the excuse rather.
Right.
But the class passes usually come in bundles of 5. And if you do the 5 class pass, I think right now the price is now set at $70 for 5 classes. So it knocks down the drop-in rate a little bit. And of course, as you go up in those bundles, it's going to save you more and more. We do have an unlimited monthly. And the unlimited monthly, if you auto renew it, it's only $99. So it sounds like that falls right into competitive rates with other studios. And, if you are coming to 2 to 5 times a week, you're definitely going to save to not have to pay at each drop in. And I think sometimes when we put our money where our mouth is, it helps us to stay committed to a thing. You have to invest a little. There's an investment there. And you kind of say, okay, well, I'm paying for this, so I need to go on and get over there.
Now you need to go. Yes, holding yourself accountable. And like she said, we hear, the 99, but if you're going 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 times a week, you're going to recoup that investment in no time. And you can still get a return on your investment because you'll be going to more classes, especially if you're doing that. So I love it. I love it. Y'all need to figure that out. So what is your personal style of yoga teaching? Explain why this is important to you.
My favorite style is probably power yoga. Power, I always say I came to yoga more strong than I was flexible. And then the flexibility has just developed over time as I started to trust myself more. So in power, you're doing a lot more moves that help build strength and endurance in the way that you might kind of see in your weight training in the gym. So with power yoga, for me, it helps me get into that space in my comfort zone. But then as I move to the flexibility where I'm being more challenged, it challenges me mentally to just, okay, and surrender to what is happening
Right.
and allow that growth to take place. So I do love how I feel like power yoga is the happy medium between strength and flexibility. I think we all want to be really strong, and then you need that flexibility to stay mobile.
Yes, and then you had mentioned it before, the vinyasa, the being
Vinyasa.
able to, yeah, to flow from one position to another seamlessly. Because I have been in some classes where I'm like, okay, wait, I don't know how she got there. My body does not flow like that. I'll just wait and catch you on the next one. So I can understand when someone says there are some types where, maybe it was just the instructor, but my body just didn't naturally flow to where you wanted me to go. So I know that's important to you. You had mentioned that before.
Well, vinyasa is a style, but it is also a motion. So it's a motion of poses. So it's a style of yoga, moving with the breath, flowing in and out of the posture. But then in a traditional vinyasa, you are from your plank pose, melting your chest down, inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling back to your downward facing dog. So you do have the two, they're the same name, but one is a style and one is actually the movement.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So what is your business vision in the coming years?
Absolutely. So I love yoga. It's always going to be a part of me, whether I'm teaching or just practicing. I say yoga instructors are always a student, and it's important for us to continue to be students so that we can be better instructors. But I am leaning back towards that financial piece again because there's there's success there, and it naturally came easy for me. And over my working experience in corporate America, I've picked up a lot of tools in finance and lending. So I'm moving on to real estate now. So getting my real estate licensing so that I can help families buy their dream homes and their family homes and build memories there. Family is something that's very close and near and dear to my heart. So I felt like it gives me an opportunity to still work my schedule where I can be available to my family. So I was thinking, what have I got experience in that can, bring enough income to make sure I can support my family, but still keep that notion of making my own schedule.
Absolutely.
So, you always reach back in your toolbox and figure out what's going to work for you. And I would love to be able to continue yoga, and for me to do that and have the freedom in my schedule. I think real estate is right up the way. So that's where we're moving now. So yes, I joke and say you'll see somebody standing on their head trying to sell you a house. And there's always the metaphorical representation of that, but then the literal, like, you're flipping, trying to make these contracts meet and trying to make these deadlines meet and appraisals, and you have to remember to be flexible in your mind. And it's not just something that happens on your yoga mat. It's part of the way that you move, and that's that bigger part of the yoga practice that's not just physical.
I love it. Y'all see how she pieced that together from real estate and yoga? I'm telling y'all not going to be ready, but you are going to be ready when she gets there. I'll be sure to follow her on IG. She does a lot of clips on there and a lot of moves. So check her out. I always say be a fan first and then move into working towards being a client. So Shay, thank you for sharing your experience and your knowledge with us today.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here and thank you for inviting
You're
me.
so welcome. All right, Gems, it's time for your financial gems. Your financial gems for today are number one, set a budget. I love it. She said it. She likes finance. I love finances. So I don't understand why this should be hard for you because it should not be. So set a budget. Number two, practice discipline over spending. Spending is just a part of a habit that we have. But if you practice the discipline of not overspending, you'll see it becomes a better routine in your life. Number three, create multiple streams of income. She just told you right there, real estate, yoga, and you can add on whatever multiple streams of income that you want to enhance your life in the way that you feel as best fit for you. Number four, always practice your passion. She just said that as a yoga instructor, you are always a a practicing a student first before you are a teacher. You're always in that practice mode. So don't forget to always practice and constant level of growth. Be in that constant level of growth. I love that. And finally, find what gives you the most peace and do it daily. Love those. So, Jims, it is our show custom to have every guest provide us with an inspirational quote. So, Shay, what is your inspirational quote you would like to share with us today?
Yes, it is a scripture, Philippians 4 and 13. It states that you should, sorry, I'm getting nervous. Okay, so yes, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And as mentioned before, I am a person that loves power and strength. And I have to be reminded that I don't have to do everything in my own strength, that I can always look towards my faith, and my faith comes from the Lord. So I'm leaning into that when I'm lost and looking for direction in that way. So
Like it. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Love it, love it, love it. You guys are going to love it too. Again, thank you so much, Shay, for being a guest on our show today and being part of our journey.
yes, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Jims, creating healthy financial habits is a lifelong commitment. Remember, without change, there'd be no butterflies. Changing habits, changing lives, and changing futures are all up to you. Till next time, Jims, take care. Bye.